Alright, so how y'all doing, boys? Hope you're doing well. Now in today's video, going to finally be going over the brand new legend difficulty final boss ESCANOR. Now, as you can see, I've already done a couple attempts at this, and at first glance, especially with how difficult the final boss ESCANOR was on the hell difficulty, you would expect it to be quite a jump, but some of these legend difficulty bosses have been proving to be a little bit easier than expected, which is honestly not too bad. Having a quick look at the shop here, for how endgamer content this is, I did expect just a little bit more. Also a little unfortunate that they've actually put the daily limit on all of these items, but there's still a couple SSR pennants are good. There are also the UR stones and hammers and all that other kind of stuff, so that's always real nice. But jumping into the actual ESCANOR now, what is the team going to want to be using? Having our daily stuff popping up there. The team is pretty much what we would have used the same time, but of course with the brand new addition of the Festival King. This king here is going to be such a good unit. The damage he provides for the team, the shield as well, just helps out so goddamn much. Like in the first phase, you'll play semi tank ESCANOR ultimates, and which pretty much without the shield will almost one tap Gotha. He will go for Gotha most of the time, but the king shield can just completely nullify them. Obviously, we're going to want to build the king attack crit. Getting more damage off is always nice, and of course, creating stronger shields in turn. And the other unit we are using here, which is probably the main girl of the showcase, will be this blue mono. If you guys don't know what the blue mono does, this first card here is a buff removal card, which is most of the reason why we're going to be using her. This card also just does a crazy amount of damage. She also has like a really nice passive. We'll get to that in a second. This second card here doesn't do like a crazy amount. Obviously it is nice if you can get the prevent ultimate move gauge orb, but I do believe it just removes the debuff at the beginning of his turn. So there's that one there. And then last but not least, the ultimate. It's a bleed ultimate. You don't really need to have a high ult level, but the passive here, which really helps out in most PvE content, increases the hero's damage dealt by 30% for each orb in the enemy's ultimate move gauge. Orb excludes PvP, so that will allow us, especially in the first phase where the ESCANOR's crit resistance is fairly low, to just hit some crazy damage with that single target buff removal card. But jumping over to the equipment here, we are of course going to be rocking her as well on the attack crit damage set, and the cosmetics are nothing crazy for either. No Holy Relic either. It's not necessarily needed. I do also have the Holy Relic for Gotha, but once again, not really needed. I will, of course, go and show the King gear as well. You don't need to have the characters this built out. It's more of one of those final bosses where it's more just like getting the right card RNG and just playing your cards right. But once again, Gotha HP defense, not getting a crazy amount of use out of the Gotha there, and then Death Pierce in the back. I mean, you could swap Death Pierce out maybe for like a blue Jericho or someone who like kind of increase your damage, something along those lines, like a mono blue support, but I just feel like Death Pierce works the best. He increases both the mono and king's damage, which is what we're kind of looking for. But of course, using the attack food, if you like, you could probably swap it out for HP. Might help just survive some of the turns. And jumping over to the artifact set here, we are using the trio of troublemakers, which if you guys seen one of my previous videos, or actually might come out a video after this, but we do of course show the best team for farming SA coins. So little sneak peek at tomorrow's mid most likely. But yeah, this team here, we also went ahead and used it. Main reason is just because it's pretty much one of the only card sets that just gives like a flat out damage increase. Actually, it might be the only one. We do only have a level 3 here. It obviously can get to that 5th level, but I wouldn't recommend investing into it that much. But also, the other final reward we get from this ESCANOR will be the first time completion reward, which if we go over to our heroes section here, is the headpiece. They pretty much do this with all legend difficulty kind of content. And if we can find ESCANOR, here we go. Once again, is only limited to the small ESCANOR, and that is this one here. It's honestly not terrible. A little bit of extra lifesteal is really nice in the recovery. Not like a super necessary headpiece, and at this point, most of you guys should have your cosmetics like completely maxed out on your OG ESCANOR. But let's jump right into it here, and we will of course go over how the kind of battle goes and how you should play it out. Definitely a battle you have to play just a little bit slower. If you rush it or like end up like misplaying one of your turns, it can definitely lead to just a terrible start. The ideal starting hand as well is you do want that extra rank up. That'll help out so much in the long turn. And then in your second turn, if you can get like an extra one of these and an extra one of these Blade Dance cards, that is best case scenario. But we'll go ahead and get rid of these here. So the main gimmick you kind of watch out for in this first and second phase is when you get ESCANOR below, I think it's 20 or 30% HP, he will get invincibility for 2 turns. So no skill effects, no ultimate, none of that are going to apply to him. And in this first turn, you're kind of just trying to survive. You really don't want to have to take the ultimate. Sometimes you can get it in the second turn, or sometimes you can get a little bit lucky and it will take just that extra 3rd turn in order to get the ultimate, which always helps out. Same passive as the green ESCANOR, where when he reaches that max ultimate gauge, he does go ahead and lose all of his buffs, which definitely helps. We'll go for I think I'm just going to try and maximize card draw here. We'll go for that one. So yeah, these 3 cards here are going to be our main kind of cards, but once again, he can play his first phase pretty slow. He's not going to do like a crazy amount of damage as long as you're not tanking the ultimate, and if you have a strong King Shield, you'll be completely fine. But the second phase is where things start to get a little bit harder. He does have a card there which deals, I think it's 300% extra damage to buffed enemies, so if you are doing this and you're using like more of a, let's say maybe you don't have King or Blue Mono, some characters you could probably substitute them out for is like a Tarmiel or Margaret. Margaret's ultimate, especially in that second phase at 6/6, will almost entirely just one tap him, but let's see, let's go 1. I might go 2, and we do really want to keep this card for another phase. Let's see. Only reason I'm saying that we do really want to hold into that card is because when entering the second phase, he does get, you know, true to the red Escanor passive, that triple HP, that the triple max HP passive. As you can see, a nice and good crit on Escanor. Like I said previously, his crit resistance is so much higher when getting into this final phase here. But let's see, yeah, no buff remove, which is really going to kill our damage. Having a look at him here, we'll also go over a couple of his cards. Where is it? So 600% extra damage done to him. Is that kind of just to counteract Derriere at the time she's just going absolutely crazy in final bosses. And let's see, removes buffs. That's alright. And where was this other card I was talking about? Blaze. Yeah, the Over Rupture deals 300% extra damage to all enemies, which is just absolutely absurd. But other than that, nothing too crazy. He does, of course, apply a whole bunch of buffs to himself, so that Amplify card can also become extremely deadly if you give him enough time to use it. I might go 1, 2, and 3 just to kind of let some cards fly out of my hand. Also disables any gaining of ultimate gauge or using ultimate moves for the first 2 turns as well. So don't get me wrong, you do want to be prepared for this second phase. It is definitely tough. But probably the main thing you should be looking for is having that second buff removal card. You obviously want a level 3 one to try and finish him off. I'd probably say try and get him to around like half HP before you go ahead and use it. We will kind of see the amplified damage just absolutely come through. If he throws out another one of these cards on Gotha, it'll do way too much damage. The fact that he actually used the ultimate removal card is really nice. Gives us a little bit more card draw, which is exactly what we want. Go ahead and use this one here, get the merger there. At this point, we should be able to start doing damage. He will, of course, bring back the buffs every couple of turns. If I do end up failing this run as well, and actually like getting the invincibility to proc, although, you know, if the invincibility does proc, you can still win the run, it just makes it a whole lot more difficult. So definitely want to try and avoid that at all costs. That is actually some really nice card draw. I might... really don't want to stuff this up. Let's see. I could probably just go buff removal into like the weak. So hard to scope out the damage just because I don't use these units very often. Let's go for this here. We'll see how much damage that does. Unfortunately as well, I did actually try this in one of my previous runs. Something that I do in the bird a lot is if you fail your turn right before it actually ticks over to the enemy's turn, you can quickly close the game, reopen it, and then it'll give you the opportunity to join back in battle and you can restart from the beginning of your turn. But there it is. As you can see, a fairly cruisy run with, this is by far the best team for this kind of content. But once again, you can, you know, build out the characters a lot more. And if you don't have this team, once again, replacing the Mono and King for Tarmiel and Margaret, you do definitely, if you can have King, that is definitely your best bet. That shield helps out so much. The damage reduction on Tarmiel is going to be a little bit hard to tank with the Gotha, but I've also heard of people doing this with like free-to-play teams and being able to like patience certain attacks, which is absolutely absurd. We'll of course go ahead and do another one just to kind of showcase the whole kind of invincibility proccing, but hey, who knows? If I end up just getting 2 flawless runs, even better. Just goes to show that content isn't the hardest in the world. But I do definitely like this kind of like idea of the whole kind of final boss thing, and I don't know, it's just, I feel like there is definitely an update that needs to be done to it. I was definitely disappointed when they gave us some of the characters like the Gila and Jericho final boss, where they didn't actually give us any cosmetics for it. It was more just like a rewards thing. Definitely don't like the fact that they like limit the shops to how many like things you can purchase per day. It's, if someone wants to go ahead and grind it all out on the last day, let them do that. Like they shouldn't have to, you know, it shouldn't have to be you have to do everything on the first day and vice versa. But yeah, no, I really enjoy the content. I just reckon there are some things in Grand Cross, I don't know, the Grand Cross is in a pretty good state at the moment, especially when it comes to PvP. I feel like it's been, or it probably is in one of like the best states it's been in a long time, like near the kind of like release and whatnot. Just, I feel like the kind of diversity you can use with the teams is just so good. Like there's nothing that's like overruling. Like when we had Barn Terry, if you weren't using that team, you were just losing. But anyways, back to the battle here. Moving fairly slowly. Hopefully you can actually, if he ends up breaking the shield and like gets an ultimate off on us as well, that would be kind of nice. Card draw here is actually terrible. Yeah, I feel like this should be something that you can like easily like continually retry. The Tomiel and Margaret as well having really nice ult damage definitely helps, because I've had times where I've tried to use Kings to kind of like finish off this phase, and sometimes the King's ultimate damage can be so lackluster. Like even when removing just a couple buffs, right here would be like a perfect scenario, and that's what, like 8 buffs or so? Yeah, that's perfect. You can get so much extra damage on him there. And let's see. He removes both of these on the first phase as well, both the debuffs. Okay, no, so he actually holds on to them. There we go. Card draw's finally starting to come through for us. Can we actually go ahead and kill with the level 3 King card? We are very close to proccing that kind of damage cap. Actually, I might go ahead and just throw it out. Worst comes to worst. That really hurt to go through as well. Oh, you're kidding me, right? The D ranker cards. Let's go 1, 2, and... Actually... Why not? We'll go for this here. Hold on to our really good cards because we know we're going to proc invincibility, just for the fact of actually showcasing it. Almost killed there as well. Like, the crits are such like a thing you can rely on in this phase that really, really works out. But extra rank up there is really, really nice. As you can see, we'll still win. Actually showing off the ultimate damage here. Yeah, if you let your Gotha get hit with the ultimate, Gotha is going to die. That's something you really, really need to watch out for. But yeah, once again, getting the extra rank up is really nice. Getting the card draw, you should just be able to absolutely blitz through this. We'll go ahead and show off the fact that you can't actually do damage with the ultimates, but I think that's pretty much everything that I wanted to show off with this kind of showcase. Obviously went through all the rewards, went through both the phases. When it comes to other units, I'll do a little bit more thinking on what, like, who I reckon you should use. If it really comes down to it, you don't have like any of the Archangels, either like the Archangels I listed, probably even using like the blue free-to-play Diane with like the Rupture AoE and the buff removal single target card. I believe her no, that's an attack disable. Yeah, unfortunate. But yeah, we'll go ahead and throw up King's card here and we'll get into this next phase. But just don't let yourself get hit with the ultimate phase 1. You should be fine. Progress on the stage 2. If you guys are still having trouble with this though, by all means, or any questions as well, let me know in the comment section down below. But that just about does it for today's video. Hope you guys enjoyed. Please hit the like button and subscribe. Really means a lot to me, and I'll see you guys for some more Grand Cross content.